good evening. I show I'm live. Let me make sure audio is going out okay. I show everything is good. It's been a little while. I probably wow. It's not going to give me that. Wow. Oh, okay, it's there. I think. Really? Okay. I'm already signed in, homie. So hopefully this works correctly. I don't know if it's going to. I've got a few different things set up. For one, the chat is supposed to appear on the side, which would be this side here. Chat's supposed to appear over there when people talk. So whether or not that works remains to be seen. And, well, we'll just see how things work out. So I do have a backdrop, so something we can kind of keep an eye on at the same time as what we as we go over stuff. Sorry, really totally messed up format. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. And by the way, that's Israel. That's the Israel-Lebanon border. And that is live, the live video feed. It's currently 4:04 a.m. over there. So it's, it's prime time for poking people in the eye. So that's why I've got that up in the background. Maybe during our live stream, we might see some eyes getting poked. So anyway, let me tell you, got a few things to cover. I want to say out of the box that if I'm going to do live stuff, I want to do it a little bit differently than what I've been doing it. I want to focus more on you. I want to focus more on people's comments, people's questions, more so than me just sitting here talking about the stuff that's going on. The reason why is because there's, and I've talked to this a lot before, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And the best way to combat that is for people to bring stuff to me. And if I know anything about it, I can say so. If I don't, I will absolutely say so. I am not one of those people that are going to just sit here and run off at the mouth, because that's where you start getting in trouble with telling falsehoods, and in turn get in trouble with the Father. We're going to cover a little bit of that too as well. Going to beat a little bit of a dead horse, if you will, because it's important sometimes to beat dead horses, especially when the dead horses just won't give up. So anyway, we want to cover some news. Of course, things have been kind of crazy across the board. If you haven't noticed, the stock market went total crazy. And I do have that right here. And so it closed, quit moving on me. The Dow closed at 2.6% down. S&P 500 closed at 3% down, and the NASDAQ at 3.43% down. That's some pretty significant losses. Now, what's that mean for, I don't know, say tomorrow? I have no idea, because I've watched so many times, I've watched it just bounce right back. The next day, it just bounces right back. It's like nothing ever happened. So is that going to be the case here? I don't know. The only time to tell. I am certainly not a financial expert, that's for sure. Bringing that back up, I do want to make note that crypto had taken a pretty good hit as well. Now, it came back up some. It's not back to the old gray Mary, what she used to be. It ain't back to where it was. However, it has come up pretty significant. I mean, it's up roughly $6,000 a share from when I saw it earlier. So, let's see. Aside from that, I guess I got a little bit of an update as far as we are concerned. I think the Amazon thing has worked itself out. I don't know if that was due to my raising hell or what, but they are starting to credit the funds into the little pot, if you will. So that's good. It's important, and there are people that will come out and tell you how, you shouldn't say nothing. Bullshit, you shouldn't say nothing. You absolutely should say something each and every time. Let me explain. So, I've got a real life example for you. I always try to bring actual real life examples, ways that I am doing things in the current time or sometimes the past, depending if I'm, able to do it at the current time. And I try to give examples. I try to lead by example. Imagine that. So, 3 years ago, we started this group, and I've talked about it before, this local Facebook group, and for the town here. And since then, there are some individuals. Right now, it's nothing but a political shitstorm. But there are some individuals that have really chose to use that group for what it was truly intended for. And because of that, one of the things that we can take claim to is the whistleblowing of the cut in staff for our emergency services. That news was broken to the public on our group. And so, from that particular incident, and I talked about this before too, I wound up working on a website, building a website, and let me bring you back another web view here. And this is that website. The last time I actually posted something on the homepage was May 7th, so it's not a super active site yet, and I really want to reinforce yet. But what I typically do, like there was a meeting tonight, and it's not over here yet or anymore. And so it keeps up with the meetings, the city council meetings, and then what I do, let me bring the calendar back up here. Let me go back to last month. And then what I do is that whenever the minutes are accepted, I enter the minutes, which I have to enter these. But I record the audio of the city council meeting, and I put it there on the website. So you can actually go, this was the meeting last month, the 15th. You can actually go in. I got to turn my computer audio up.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Plum? Here. Councilman Fry?
Here.
Councilman Bellin?
Here.
Councilman Napper?
Yeah, individuals can download that or listen to it at their will, as well as they can go and they can look at the agenda at their leisure. And then the other thing you saw there is called a packet. And it's essentially the long form version of the agenda, and any type of documentation or anything like that is there. So I put that all on this website for people to be able to kind of keep tabs on if they choose. So as you can tell, or as you could imagine, we have been paying attention to what's going on. And it came up on the agenda for this evening that, let me bring this back up. On the agenda for this evening was, let's see, right here, a bill to amend the Code of Ordinances to increase the sewer rates, right? And it's not a huge amount or anything like that, but we just had an increase with electric rates. And you know, people are hurting. People don't have a ton of money to throw wherever they, you know, and people are hurting, plain and simple. And so these things need to be questioned. They need to be called out. And so I brought it to the attention, and I'm going somewhere with this, because doing this stuff is very important. I brought it to the attention of the community in the group, in the Facebook group. And there was a fair amount of activity on that post. People talking, some people explaining their situation. And I have been saying this for a little while now, that our council meetings are pretty much rubber stamp sessions. I mean, and tonight wasn't quite a rubber stamp session. I'm going to get to that. But the one meeting that I showed you, what was that, 18 minutes, I think? I think I showed you that meeting. I think it was 18 minutes, something like that. So they literally came in, spit out what the whatever was the subject, the topic, whatever it was about, and took their vote without anybody really saying anything. And, you know, for some things that's understandable. Like, for instance, you know, like the appointments of tree commission and stuff. This stuff has been gone over, hashed over. You know, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So I could understand that. I could understand just going ahead and approving these appointments for these positions. That's not a big deal. This is actually a different one there, but I could see that. That's not a big deal. However, when it comes to stuff like raising rates of any kind, when it comes to approving any large amounts of spending, yeah, that kind of stuff needs to be talked about. And as an example, they had to redo the city hall, or at least, I don't want to say the entire city hall because I'm not positive of that, but I know a significant portion of the city hall, as well as the council chambers, had to be redone. They had termite issues. I want to say they had water damage issues, and they had a lot of issues. And I'm not saying that they didn't need to do anything, because that would be a bold-faced lie. They most certainly needed to work on the place, to fix stuff, to upgrade stuff. And I would have to go look back through. I don't remember, and I don't want to speak falsely. But there was a rather insane amount that they were spending for the audio system upgrade for the city council chamber. Now, we're a town of roughly 10,000 people. And, you know, we don't need an audio system to where each seating position has a Shure microphone. I don't use a Shure microphone. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. I've got a generic-ass microphone from eBay, right? It's a BM800 wannabe or something like that. And is it great? Is it perfect? No. Is it horrible? No, I don't think so. I've been using this thing for over a decade now. Well, actually, that's falsehood. Sorry. Nope, not quite, because we didn't get these till like 2016. So, not quite a decade, just to be honest. But nonetheless, I've been using this for a long time. I think you can get these now for like $25, $30, right? Versus a Shure, which you're going to pay several $100 a piece for. So I have no doubt in my mind that there was a lot of unnecessary spending when it comes to putting that audio system in our city council chambers, okay? Because that's the way it works. You guys know how that works. And yet at the same time, they're wanting to raise rates for things, which makes it harder on the citizens, because a lot of people are having to choose right now. Do I eat? Do I buy my medicine? Do I pay my rent? What do I do? What do I not do? That's the more important question. What do I not do in order to make ends meet? And now is a time to where we really need to tighten the belt as far as the city's spending, so that we don't have to raise costs for the people, so that they can have as much as they can to be able to try to make their way through this mess. And so I'm happy to say, all that to get to here, I'm happy to say that tonight I heard them actually make an attempt to talk about these things. And when it came to the raising of the water rates, there was actually a little bit of a debate. Now, how authentic that debate was, I couldn't tell you. I would have to be there, and I'd have to be able to pay attention to the mannerisms, the body mechanics, and that stuff. I could tell you in a heartbeat if I was there, if I could see them. But from the vocal patterns and stuff, I think the mayor was being genuine. I will say that. I think the mayor was being genuine. I'm not so sure about the others. In fact, I'm kind of doubtful on the others. But I think the mayor was actually being genuine. But it's a start. It's a start in the right direction. And we can't get there. We couldn't have gotten here without somebody blowing a trumpet, without somebody taking the initiative to try to bring about change, to try to make things better. So that's why it is important, folks, to call stuff out. That's why it's important. I think Lincoln and about 1 billion other people have been attributed to saying something to the effect of, the only thing it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to stand by and do nothing. And I'm paraphrasing there. That's a fact. That is a fact. One of my favorite sayings I actually heard from Steve Engel, and I'm going to get it wrong. Used to actually be on a banner at the top of the website, and it's about freedom, basically being only there for those willing to defend it. And again, I'm really paraphrasing and butchering that. But it's actually one of my favorite quotes, and I'll remember it when I'm not trying to remember it while I'm live. But anyway, a lot of craziness. Let's talk about that. And again, I want to do this differently. I don't want to just be up here just a yapping voice. So if somebody's got questions, if somebody's got comments, put it in there in the chat, and we'll address it. As you know, things are going crazy. I'm discouraged at the same YouTube channels pulling the same rhetoric. And it's sad. It's really sad. Is war imminent? The longer it's taken Iran to make a response, the more I believe that this is just going to be like last time. And that it's just going to be a matter of games being played, essentially. That's all it is games. And that's sad. That truly is sad. Let me see if I can get the chat to work on this screen here. Open in web browser. Let me pull that off. Oh. Okay. Well, it shows up here. Ah. I don't know. Beats me. Maybe it's I can't send chat with that box. I bet that's what it is. I can't send chat with that box. So I'm getting used to the different stuff, because I do have different stuff that I'm using. Like I say, there should be a chat box. let me test it. I tried testing it earlier, but I think I actually have to be like connected. Yeah, I see me down there. I'm gonna have to fix the size of the text box, but yeah, I see me down there. And we'll get all that ironed out. Ah, howdy, Steve. There's Steve, and his test was successful. Thank you, Steve. So, I really do think that this whole deal with Iran it's much the same as last time. That there's going to be a coordinated, and when I say coordinated, I mean an agreed upon and talked about response with the other parties. Something just isn't right with all of this. It just doesn't pass the tests, if you will. So we'll see. Again, this is something only time will tell. At the same time, I have to ask myself, because I always ask myself, are they being set up? And being Israel. Is Israel being set up? Why would I say that? Well, because for the first time since, I believe it's the Cold War, they had opened up a shelter, an underground nuclear bomb shelter, essentially, for the Israeli government and important individuals. And the reason why I wonder, it's supposed to, I think the word that was used was invulnerable, right? I've actually got it. Right, Chia. Come on, English, please. Israel opens underground nuclear shelter in Jerusalem for country's leadership. Shock find shakes relations with Egypt. That's because Egypt has openly said that they're out on this. They're not gonna be backing Israel. So my question is, a lot of technology's changed since that bunker was built. In fact, the Pentagon during 9/11 was actually being revamped with more security's not the word I'm looking for. They were redesigning some of the building to be able to take more of an impact, interestingly enough, right? And we could go down that rabbit hole, but we're not going to right now. So what I'm getting at is there are absolutely weapons now that will get places that you couldn't get before. Like when we started, for instance, the wars in the desert after 9/11, we really didn't have a whole lot of weapons that were really good at getting people deep down in a mountain. Now we do. We do as a result of that conflict, because we thought, maybe we need to reach and, touch a sandal head in the face that's 200 feet down. Howdy, what's it to you? I just want to do something a little bit different, right? Hopefully it works out well. Hang on, gotta have some coffee. It's Friday. Well, actually, no, I know what you mean. Howdy, Friday. Had to mess with you on that, though. But it just makes me wonder, are they going to put the Israeli leadership? I mean, think about that. Now, you have to understand, a lot of the powers that be, if you will, want chaos. That's what they want. They want the chaos. And so, keeping that in mind, I have to ask, well, are they wanting to stuff the Israeli leadership down in this hole so that a munition can be used that can absolutely reach down and touch them? Because can you imagine, pun intended, the firestorm that would cause? That would be absolutely insane. I know I got a fly, a couple of them that's bugging the hell out of me. For the first time in my life, I really, really wished I had those stupid sticky tapes that hung from the ceiling. I don't miss them, but I wished I had a couple. Anyway, I've got some spray in there. I just got to whip it out here. I will after the show. I don't like chemicals. I really do not like chemicals. And so I'm real kind of apprehensive about spraying that kind of stuff around in my home. Hang on. But after this, I think I'm going to get it out and give it a couple of squirts, and they'll go, and it'll be over with. So anywho, it really makes me wonder if that's what's being set up here. But I look at all the different angles that I can dream up, so to speak. At least I don't come here on the YouTubes and make videos about all the different things I can dream up. But I will talk about them because they're all valid possibilities. And we have to look at as many angles as we can to try to be as best ready for whatever it is that we can be. So, back to war news here. They had actually updated the website. They are back, by the way. They had actually updated the website from the time earlier that I had looked to me starting the show here. And a few updates. It's crazy. Of course, 4 missiles hit a base in Iraq. 5 Americans were wounded. Let's see. Iran issues a NOTAM for air traffic over the country, harbinger of attack, which it absolutely is. Right? I hear ya. Yeah, it's crazy, I I highly recommend that's something that people have. Speaking in reference to solar generators, but and I hate using that term, but it's what people know them by. They're a needed thing, but after a while, this is getting ridiculous with these channels. And each time they have a new product to advertise, you gotta buy it. You gotta have. How many do you need? Really, how many do you need? I understand to a point all sides of it. But there comes a time to where these people need to be, they need to look inward. And they need to be, a little more choosy. Because some of them will sell you anything as long as they're going to get something out of it, whether it be a free device or a commission and that's the problem. That's where the problem is. We didn't have this issue before YouTube screwed with everybody's monetization. It was only when YouTube clamped down on the monetization that the content creators sought other ways of generating that revenue. However, and that is fine, except for there's a huge lack of responsibility and lack of self-control. And that is where the problem lies. That is where the problem lies. I'm actually working on some content. And I've been working on it for a while. I will continue to work on it for a while. Because when I get done producing this piece of content, people are going to lose their minds. And if I were to tell you, I'm going to use a little clip, and it's not intended to infringe copyrights and blah, 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 blah. It's for news and commentary, YouTube. I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to play the audio. In good faith, if you will. Because this is ridiculous. If I was to tell you that Bear Independent indicated that it was okay to lie, that the Bible doesn't say that you shouldn't lie, most people would probably think or say I was out of my damn mind. And most days I would say rightfully so, but not today. I cannot do that today. I want you to just listen to this. Just listen to this.
Would I lie to the authorities? 100%. They lie to us every day. By the way, it's do not bear false witness, not do not lie. The false witness specifically is talking about the death decree.
Hear that? It's just a little quick 12-second clip. Let me replay it because the audio was a little low.
Would I lie to the authorities? 100%. They lie to us every day. By the way, it's do not bear false witness, not do not lie. The false witness specifically is talking about the death decree.
So, it was in a video where he was talking about the draft. It's a Patreon video. He was talking about the draft. And, how that he would lie to the government when it came to, concealing the location of individuals. And hey, I'm not against that. Okay? I'm in support of that thought. Personally, I'm in support of that. What I am not in support of is lying about the word of the Father. Lying about what the Father has to say about lies. I mean, lying, biblically, is literally an abomination. You can look it up. It's an abomination. And so to sit there and to say that it's okay, and why? Because that's what fits their personal need at the time. Man. And this is the guy that says he who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. Just wait. That's the shortest clip out of everything I've got so far, and there's a mountain. There is a mountain. Because people need to know this stuff. There are a lot of people that have really invested heavily into him, whether it be emotionally or whether it be financially. And people need to understand the sham that is going on. All it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing. I am not going to sit and do nothing when I can clearly see a pattern of lies, a pattern of abuse, a pattern of misleading people. Not going to do it. That's like, and I'll get more back to our topic, but let me just finish up on this topic with this. That's like his whole charity thing, how he's reached his goal. Like he had a donor matching thing for Caleb House and how he reached. No, he didn't. They are doing everything they can to revamp medical kits to try to get sales up. Because, how many medical kits do people really need, right? And so they're doing everything they can in order to generate more sales for Refuge because they're starting to be hurting. And so they're doing all this charity stuff, right? Whether it be with Grindstone, whether it be with Caleb House, whatever. And they had this large, big donor rally thing, whatever you want, a campaign going on. And supposedly donor matching and all that. And the claim was that they, at the end, that, they not just reached it, but they surpassed it. I call bullshit on that. He talks about all these books. And one of them recently, he spent like 25 grand or something to go to some conference in St. Louis. Came back and bought himself a nice fancy watch and all that, because you got to have a nice fancy watch, Out of touch is what you call it. And he claims that they did this. Well, he talks about these books. In fact, this one lady at this conference gave him a book. Something to the title was something to the effect of How to Ask for Money. Something like that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I guarantee you it's in that book. Or in another book that he's read. Or probably multiple books that he's read. That you never admit to a failure. That you never admit that you didn't reach your goal. Because that harms you. And it does. It harms you as far as getting people to engage in future endeavors. Oh, well, this guy couldn't pull it off last time. Why would I want to get involved this time? So you sell it off as how you not only met your goal, but you did so much better than meeting your goal, because that means the next time that people will be like, yeah, last time he just slayed it. He just kicked ass. Yeah, I'm going to get involved in this. But it's a lie. And that's where I've got such an issue. It's a lie. And he's doing all this with an attachment to the Father. And that is where I will not sit back and do nothing. I am not going to let somebody slap the Father in the face when I know better. And just, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Anyway, back to the solar generator topic. And like I said, it's one of those things I do recommend people have one. But you don't need 50 of them. And you certainly shouldn't go out and buy one of the ginormous units. Please don't do that. You can build yourself, and they're not that hard. You can build yourself a way better system for much, much cheaper. And being that you built a system, you have individual components that you can change. If you've got one component that goes bad, all you got to do is replace that component. Much better way. I actually, for the heck of it, just a side note, just today, pardon me, just today, I decided that if I can, I don't know for sure if I can yet, I've got lead acid batteries. I think I've got a total of 6 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And they were, I don't know if they were all bought for her bike. Yeah, I think they were. All 6 of them over time were bought for her bike. But lead acid batteries don't last forever. And they, they go bad, essentially. And a lot of times what it is there's plates, what they call plates inside that battery, and they get shorted out. The material that's inside, what is it, nickel and, I don't know, is it nickel and zinc? Nickel and lead, well, I think lead's one of them, nickel might be the other. Not positive on that, I'd have to look it up. But what happens is eventually it erodes, and a lot of times it'll fall, right? You'll have little bits of it that break off the plates, and it'll fall to the bottom of the battery, and eventually that will build up. But once it builds up and it shorts out two or more of the plates, those plates are in something called cells. Eventually you start shorting out cells, and then once you short out enough cells, the battery's just bad. You might be able to put a charge in it, but it won't hold the charge, or it won't hold it as long, and eventually you won't even be able to get it to hold a charge. You won't be able to charge it up to do anything with. And you can actually take your battery in. In fact, when you buy a new battery, a lot of times they ask for a core. And the reason why is because there are some people that rebuild those batteries and resell those batteries. And so I'm going to try to figure out how to get these batteries apart without getting all kinds of craziness everywhere. And see if I can recycle the acid that's in them. And then see if I can clean out the battery housings themselves, get all that crap out of there, rinse out the plates really good, get all the crap off the plates so that there's nothing shorting out anywhere, reassemble them, and put the acid back in and be able to use those batteries again. So that's going to be something I'm going to be working on probably over the coming days. This here is a Leatherman pouch, and I'd been using this Leatherman pouch on my belt for quite a while, and I totally forgot to do anything to reinforce it. And down here at the bottom, I know I could bring this up to the big screen, but down there at the bottom there's holes in it. There's holes, and that's because my Leatherman looks like that on the end. Let me get it up like that. And constantly rubs up against that. Stupid flaws. I mean, get the heck out of here. And you can see it down in there through the holes. A little glimmer of light when it moves in and out. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to make a video on this. And this is the stuff I'm talking about. And this is one of my gripes with the prepper channels. Because they're not, all they're trying to do is sell you stuff. They're not trying to show you anything. And the most important thing that you could be shown right now is how to repair things, how to fix things. Because that's going to be one of the most valuable skills when it all goes down, because you're not going to be able to click on their links and be able to, go buy a new one. So it's ultimately important that you understand how to fix what you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to hand sew where it's got holes there. I'm going to hand sew that. And then this is a piece that I cut off of a coffee container. It's a Folgers plastic coffee container. That's all that is. Piece out of the bottom of it. I've got a little black dot on there. That way you can identify it as Middle Eastern Indian. I'm kidding. Because it's got this drain hole right here. Right? And so that's what that's for. That's going to get drilled out. And that way it'll still have the drain hole. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a drill and I'm going to drill little bitty holes. Little bitty holes around the top and the sides. And then I'm going to stick it all the way down in there. And I'm going to stitch that in place so that there's a little protective plastic piece that prevents that metal, that sharp-ish metal edge from constantly rubbing back up against that. That's the intent. So we'll see how that works. But that's what's more important to be showing you, how to adapt and overcome, basically how to not only repair something, but maybe even make it a little bit better than what it was. And so that's the intent, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So expect that soon enough. And then I may be doing, if I can figure out how to get those batteries apart without destroying them, I'll probably be making a video on that to show you guys that. It's, just to come on and sell you something isn't really helping. It's just really not. Yeah, that Oops, however it's pronounced, that Oops brand. I don't know. I don't have one. I've not owned one. I've not seen a lot of complaints with them. I'll say that. Unfortunately, there is a whole lot of complaints about EcoFlow. Is that because they sell so many units? Well, I'm sure that's part of it. But a lot of the complaints, a lot of the problem stems around their constant app changes and firmware changes. So I would recommend people stay away from that brand, at least for the time being. Until they're done trying to out-feature everybody else, I would stay away from it. And as I started to say earlier, don't buy the huge units. The big mega ultra, 5,000. Don't do that. Build your own system. If you're going to spend that, build your own system and have something way, way better. I used to always give people the Renogy site, and I still highly recommend. I don't have any issue with Renogy. I want to say that out of the gate. No issues with Renogy. I still recommend buying their panels, their solar panels. But the site to go to right now, if you're going to do something serious with solar energy, is the Ames website. They're the ones probably to go with at this particular time. They've got some really bang-up deals on some bang-up devices. And, you can get so much more for so much less just by making the effort to build your own, to put together your own system. Anyway, let me see. Was there anything else news-wise I wanted to make sure to cover? I don't think so. I think I pretty much was wanting to... Oh, wait. What did I have in the title? I know I'm missing something. I feel I'm missing something. Israel, I know, and Iran was in the title. The stock market was in the title. Venezuela. I haven't talked about Venezuela. Okay. So this is what I got to say about that. I know that there's a lot of talk right now about how their election was fraudulent. And I wasn't there. I can't tell you whether it was or whether it wasn't. But I can tell you this. I've got 2 points to make on this. Number one, we always bitch and complain and blame other nations for meddling in our elections. Why the hell are we meddling in theirs? And we do it every single time. That's the first thing I want to point out. The second thing that I want to point out is this is not the first time that this claim had been made. During the last election, the exact same claim was made, and I can't remember. Somebody can remember, mention, you say it in chat. But there was a guy that the U.S. more or less sponsored as a candidate for the presidency in Venezuela, and I can't remember the guy's name. But they went through all of this the last time, that the election was fraudulent and this guy won, and what it is, it's the United States trying to install their puppet. Be very weary of the news that you accept. It's kind of crazy when the very same news organizations that you don't trust on one subject, people will trust them on another. No, once they break that integrity, it's time to find a different news source. It's that simple. It is that simple. When we are looking for news, when we are looking for information, or to be informed, we really need to quit looking for what it is that we want to hear. That's just that, and that's something that each individual has to do on their own. I have gotten reamed so many times and continue to get reamed for using RT as a news source. There are people that lose their collective minds over the idea that I would use RT for a news source. But yet I have asked multiple times, show me the misinformation. Show me the false information that they published on their site. And nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. I don't use RT because I want to use a Russian news source. That's not my motivation. I am looking for something that is consistently accurate. RT has been that. RT has been that. Consistently accurate. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So, I don't know. We've had a lot of activity around, so not completely unusual. Anyway, we've got a, yeah, it's not my usual. I'm used to the camera being behind me, and when the camera's behind me, you can see all my monitors and all of that. There's a couple of squad cars out front, so there has been, well, we've had fireworks set off in the neighborhood. Just various things. Little issues in the neighborhood, so hard to say. Back to the Venezuela thing. I wouldn't necessarily believe the information that's being widespread, just simply because it's not the first time. And I can't remember the name of the guy, for the life of me, that they were trying to get in office there during the last election. And then you had that one politician from Florida, Marco Rubio, I believe it was, that was really, really pushing hard for this guy. And, you know, it never came to light. Maduro was the one that was at least claimed to be elected. So who knows? Who knows? But I know that, I do know that we've been trying to install a puppet government there for a while. So there is that. So I don't know what's going on. There's 3 cars. So hard to say. Hard to say. 3 squad cars. Hard to say. There's a house that few houses away from here that's had consistent issues. So who knows? Hard to say. They're heading out now. No. I'm kind of suspecting that it could be that house, though. I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and wrap this evening up. I discussed the topics I wanted to discuss. Venezuela, the Iran deal, Iran-Israel deal. Looks like it might be, hang on, let me switch views. Looks like the sun might be coming up there in Israel now, so that is a good thing. It was 4 o'clock when we started, so it's right around 5 a.m. Israeli time right now. So, quiet is good. Like I said, I don't know what to make of it exactly. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to get out of here. I don't know how often I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this more often, and it is going to be this style of format. I will fine-tune things a little better as far as like the chat box and anything and everything else. And, like I said, I want this to be more about engaging with you than me just sitting here reading news. I don't know. I do want to engage with everybody. I want to be available to people. And that's the most important thing. I want to be available to people if they've got questions, if they've got concerns. So, I don't know what they're doing. They're shining lights down at the end of the alley. So, I don't know what they're doing. Looking for somebody for sure. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here. I hope you all have a good evening, and God willing, I'll see you again soon. So keep an eye out for the content that I had mentioned previously about the batteries, about the Leatherman pouch. Keep an eye out for that stuff, and I'll see you when I see you. So I hope you all have a good evening, and